Hello. Thanks everybody for coming along to what is otherwise a cloud conference to hear a little bit about Android. Do you all hear me okay, first of all? Great, cool. So yeah, today we're going to learn a little bit about Android Enterprise and what's coming up. My name is Breen. I actually lead Android Enterprise engineering, and we're actually based out of London. Android is actually built between two locations. We have the largest team here in Mountain View, but we also have a team of around 300 people in London as well. So this session we're going to see some of the new things that are coming up in the next release of Android. And I have to say this disclaimer that some of the things you see here today, they may not make it into the release. I think they will, but there's always a chance that they don't. So yeah, this is why Android, this is why Enterprise is important to us. In 2019, Android is forecast to ship over 280 million smartphones intended for business use. And according to research from IDC, in 2018, 81% of personally owned smartphones shipped for business use will be running Android. And 67% of company-owned smartphones will be running Android as well. So I'm not showing these numbers simply for vanity metrics. I'm just showing you them to show you how important Enterprise is to Android and why we are investing so much time and effort into our B2B initiatives. So there's been a sustained investment in Enterprise across multiple releases of Android. In Lollipop, we introduced something called the work profile for Byod, which allows users to completely separate work and personal in their phones. In Marshmallow, we introduced the concept of corporate-owned single-use devices and runtime permissions. In Nuggets, as we say in the UK, or Nougat, as you say here, we introduced the Work App Security Challenge. So, getting into certain apps, you might require extra authentication, such as a fingerprint or PIN code. And we also introduced the digital well-being aspects for Work Profile, allowing you to turn on and off the work aspect of your phone. And in Oreo, we added zero-touch enrollment, which means that as soon as you take your phone out of the box, it enrolls itself into your organization without the need for any contact with IT. And in Pi, we introduced multi-user improvements. So ephemeral users that only use the device occasionally or as a one-off, and further improvements to Work Profile. And we'll take a look here at what we're going to introduce in Android Q as well. Now, most of Android Q will be revealed at Google I/O, which is another conference that happens in around 1 month's time. And so definitely follow that as well, because you'll get all sorts of announcements around some of the enterprise and also non-enterprise aspects of Android Q. So the enterprise team focuses itself on 3 types of user. IT admins, ensuring that they can easily manage and secure Android devices, and to minimize the number of support tickets that come through. Line of business, so specialists in-house applications or specialist hardware. Employees, ensuring that employees are able to control their privacy and digital well-being. And also we're ensuring that Android is the most productive platform for employees to use. So Android also provides multiple layers of security. So not only is it a robust platform built from the ground up to be uncompromisingly secure, Android also supports dedicated security hardware, such that you might find in Pixel and many other phones. Android has management APIs to allow EMMs to enforce policies and give IT visibility into the security posture of the device. And also there is Google Play Protect, which allows always-on app analysis and takes automatic actions should anything untoward be happening on the device. So if we look at security through the eyes of Gartner's mobile OS security reports, Android actually leads the way with security. It's most feature complete in terms of the built-in security and also corporate managed security. On here, light blue means weak and dark blue means strong. And we pride ourselves in being secure. And on my team, we have a number of enterprise security specialists complementing the platform-wide security specialists we have as well. So I think one of the big misconceptions about Android is that it's not a secure platform. In fact, Android security is robust and effective, offering enterprise-grade protections and controls to ensure devices are secure. And in fact, in Android 8, there are more areas which are rated stronger than any of the competition, according to Gartner's reports in 2017. So that includes app updates, secure browsing, authentication methods, device wipe and corporate wipe, workplace isolation, and app monitoring and control. And actually, the 2019 report is due out shortly, and so we'll see where Android 9 features on that as well. So Android is also easy to deploy. We offer a wide range of methods to set up devices. QR codes and NFC bump are really popular now, particularly on dedicated devices. And in Android Oreo, we introduced zero-touch enrollments, which I mentioned before, and is now very popular as well. And it's something you can speak to your mobile carrier about, and they can set this up for you. And then on the device management side, we provide multiple modes for IT admins to choose from. For personally enabled devices, we offer something called the work profile, which I'll introduce on the next slide. So these devices are typically referred to as BYOD. Work profile offers a unique approach that protects work apps and data whilst respecting the privacy of users. And for company-owned devices, we offer three options. One of them is personally enabled devices. So we offer a work profile for company devices as well, which offers users a separate segment where they can not only operate in a secure way, but also have their privacy respected as well. We also have work managed mode. And for single-use devices, we also have COSU mode, where you can lock the device to certain apps for certain use cases. So this is work profile. This is one of my favorite features of Android. And the way that I often explain this is it's like having two phones in one phone. On the left, you've got personal. On the right, you've got work. And actually, you can simply turn off your work phone when it's time not to be working. So there's a switch at the bottom. And there's also an OS enforced security boundary between the two, which means that IT can manage and do whatever they want in the work profile, but at the same time, whatever happens in the personal profile is private to the user. And you can still ask those device-wide questions like, is there anything untoward happening on the device, and take action accordingly without compromising the privacy of the user. So it eliminates those scenarios where people might be carrying around two phones. And also we've seen one of the main reasons for the lack of adoption on BYOD as being people very conscious about their own privacy. So this is a way where people can maintain that privacy on a single phone. So some of the benefits of Work Profile, it offers a great work-life balance. It allows people to turn off work when it's time not to be working. But it also allows IT to make sure that the device is secure as well, and they can manage the work side of the phone. Another feature that we have in Android is managed Google Play. This is a part of the Play Store which you can curate and control as IT admins. And you can also silently push out apps as well. And if you have a work profile, then on the work profile side, when you go to the Play Store, you'll go to the corporate part of the Google Play. And if you're in a personal profile, then you'll access personal Google Play. And you can also remotely configure applications, such as setting proxy servers for Chrome and all of that type of stuff. Another thing we've been working on really hard in 2018 is making sure that IT and users have greater consistency across Android. So one of the call-outs that we've had when we speak to IT and users is the devices can be quite different from an enterprise context, depending on which device you pick, and it can be quite confusing sometimes to know which device to choose to buy. And so with all of these device options, we decided to try to help standardize around some best practices in the industry. And so we launched Android Enterprise Recommended for mobile phones. And this was really about helping IT admins to make informed selection decisions around the phones that they are buying. So they know if a phone is Android Enterprise Recommended, then it supports a very rich set of features for the enterprise. And it also has a high degree of standardization when it comes to things like UIs. Secondly, we also wanted to make sure that all of these devices supported zero-touch enrollment. And we also wanted to make sure that all AER devices have regular and frequent security patches applied to them as well. So by choosing an Android Enterprise Recommended device, you can be confident that the device is going to work well in your enterprise and consistently. So far, on the knowledge worker side of devices, we have 12 OEMs onboarded with this program, and over 60 devices. And for rugged devices, we have 8 OEMs and 15 devices. So our main focus in 2018 was launching this program. And our focus now is raising awareness of this program, and making sure that IT are aware and have a large set of devices with consistent capabilities to choose from. And this year we've also launched AER for EMMs. So an EMM, sometimes people refer to them as UEMs. So these are your mobile lines or AirWatches or Google endpoint management, the things used to control and monitor your fleet of devices. AER for EMMs ensure that EMMs support Android in the best possible way. And when we launch new features for Android, they are available sooner for you to use via your EMM. So we have a number of EMMs already onboarded to this program, as you can see here. And we'll be expanding the AER program to include mobile carriers and system integrators later this year. The other focus for us is line of business. So line of business, what we're thinking about here, or we're talking about specialist devices and specialist apps, often built in-house for your business. And often when we think about Android Enterprise, we think about more traditional use cases for smartphones and tablets. These devices are driving end-user productivity and are used for customer service, back office, and support. But where Android really shines is for all the other device types and use cases. We see single-use devices deployed in the field with service technicians. Customers are using Android and for rugged tablets in harsh environments. And in retail and hospitality, customers are deploying Android devices as kiosks or point-of-sale systems and digital signage. And we're starting to see exciting use cases for AR and VR here as well. And because of this device diversity, we're able to serve the needs of a wide range of industries, from field service to retail, hospitality to healthcare. And because Android is an open platform, we at Google don't need to be experts in each of these industries. Our OEM partners are able to develop highly specialized devices to meet these needs. And the other exciting part of device diversity is we now have mobile devices reaching far more people than before, so turning frontline workers into frontline workers, warehouse workers, field service technicians, all into knowledge workers. And we also have a robust platform for building experiences. So we provide a large variety of the leading developer tools to create line of business applications. So you have Android Studio, and obviously you can build in Kotlin, Java, C++, and other languages. One of the things that I've been learning recently is Flutter and Dart. So I tend to work on iOS, so I don't usually use high-level programming languages, but I think Flutter is really interesting because it's for the first time, I think, one of the toolkits that allow you to genuinely write code once and have it run with a native experience across multiple OSs. So you can use Flutter to create iOS and Android apps with a single code base. And we're using it a lot internally inside Google now. And you may have seen we also announced Hummingbird recently, which is an extension to Flutter. I think it's in alpha. But it also allows those same apps to run on the web as well. So it's, prior to this, like back in my long history, I did stuff in Qt for cross-platform development, and then I did some stuff in Xamarin. They all had their, pros and cons, but I've been really excited about Flutter. And you have, on Android as well, you have machine learning, TensorFlow Lite, and MLKit, so on-device ML. And you have Google Play for distribution and third-party development tools such as SAP and Salesforce. And of course, developers can integrate with assistants, on-device or cloud machine learning. We have a few use cases in Google where we do learning on-device, but we've also got some use cases where we do the learning in the cloud, but then apply the knowledge tree to the device and use the ML software on device there. AR and VR is augmented reality, virtual reality is becoming increasingly important with a lot of business customers and Android things as well. And of course, Android apps are natively supported on Chrome OS as well. So thinking about employees, well, of course, you've got your familiar productivity apps, and the employer can only see what happens on these badged apps, the ones with the briefcase in work profile, if you have work profile enabled, which means that if you're not using a badged app, you know that you have the privacy that you expect. And of course, you've got turn off work mode on your work profile, which I introduced earlier. So what's next? What can we expect in Q from an enterprise perspective? Well, Q themes, improved end user experience, more IT control, and enhanced security tools. So corporate-owned devices can now be enrolled through zero-touch, QR code, or NFC directly into Work Profile during Setup Wizard. So that was previously not possible. Now you can, if you have Work Profile enabled, then you can enroll users directly into Work Profile. And this is not for BYOD devices, this is for corporate-owned devices. Again, giving your users that separation between work and personal. Another request that we had was, well, on a device with a work and personal profile, if I'm trying to schedule something, I need to see where I have a free slot, and I need to see both my calendars together. And so that's something that you couldn't do before. Now we've introduced an API, which if your IT admin allows, some calendar information can flow between the two profiles and can help you find where you have a free slot in your calendar. And if you want to edit something in your work calendar from your personal profile, you can do that. What actually happens is the work version of the app comes to the foreground. It looks like you're within the same app. You're actually not. It's actually switching between the two calendar apps, from the personal to the work, and allowing you to edit the details of any calendar item. So it keeps it secure. Another common or popular request was separate input methods for work and personal apps. So obviously, IT have a strong interest to make sure that there aren't things like keyloggers installed or apps which might be sending information onto another server, whatever people are typing in. Well, now you can say, for my personal apps, I want to use this keyboard while still maintaining IT controls for the work apps as well. So supports having two different input methods. And also more IT control. Going forward, you'll be able to install updates manually from a file. This allows users to test rollouts, stage them or stagger them, and prevent bandwidth or scheduling issues. So you can actually make sure that phones are getting updated when people are typically offline or asleep. And that builds on what we added in Android 9, which is the ability to freeze device updates for up to 90 days. We've also improved Wi-Fi provisioning. So IT admins can now configure certificate-based Wi-Fi networks during setup and put those credentials in the QR code or NFC tag. And this simplifies setup and makes connectivity automatic. Now, I think I anticipate a question on, is it safe to put those credentials into the QR code? I think it's going to be using the Easy Connect standard, if you're familiar with that. But so I think security shouldn't be a concern. But let's see when the final version comes out. So we also support device certificates. It was only a short video anyway. It's not a huge problem. So we also support device certificates through Google Identity. So now what you can do is connect to a public Wi-Fi network, provision the device, so put in your credentials, and it will automatically download the certificate and then connect you to the Wi-Fi network requiring the certificate, so also simplifying setup as well. Enhanced security. There's a concept of DPCs. You might not be familiar with it unless you're sort of heavily into EMMs, but a DPC is the app that EMMs like your mobile iron or your AirWatch or your Intune installs onto your device to then manage the device. Now, often the EMM is not an expert in, say, analyzing network activity and working out whether something untoward is happening there. And so what you can now do is delegate that to another app that can do that analysis for you. And the same for certificate installation and installation of apps. Another common feature which was blocking deployments of work profile was the ability for a user to install an app from an unknown source on their personal profile. Now, as an administrator, you will be able to block the user from installing apps from unknown sources on their personal profile as well. So you can guarantee that everything has come from the Play Store and has got both the server-side and client-side protection. So it's a feature you'll be able to turn on as an administrator. Another thing we've added is a screen lock quality check. So we had this API before called DA, Device Admin, and that's now been deprecated. One of the things that did was allow you to allow an app with privileges to change the PIN on a device, and that was useful for EMMs and things to make sure that a strong PIN was in place. But it was also a door for things like ransomware, which could, just put a new password on your device and ask you for money. So the way we've got around that is you can now interrogate the OS to say, does the password meet certain criteria for strong? And if it doesn't, you can prompt the user to take action, or you can take action yourself to erase the device or do whatever else you want. We'll also be adding private DNS support, so organizations can require DNS over TLS to avoid leaking URL queries and to keep all those internal host names secret and secure.